So I thought the performances were terrific, were lovely, really lovely, and kind of different from Australian performances because they were so interior. It's almost like film acting. It was so intense. It's a lovely small space.
It was a slow burner in a short amount of time, which is quite unique. I think it built up, and there was quite a lot of despair and horror, a lot of surprises, but also it came full circle in some hope by the end. And
I thought it was a really interesting story. It was a story I didn't know about the Chinese refugees in Hong Kong. And it was a very moving story, and I thought it was performed very well and written very well.
There's a lot of politics. Obviously, depending on where the country is, it might be easier, might be more difficult to try and attain refugee status, and it's always very intriguing learning, given how close Hong Kong is to Vietnam, that the refugee story would be also very similar but also very different at the same time, especially with the current refugee status of the Middle East. Yeah.
I suspect that, given China tends to not be quite very open about their history and their particularly around refugee status, I would think that it's very important that these stories get told so that other people can learn.
I think everyone potentially up with current events in the world now can relate some way or another to displacement, especially with what's going on in the US. And unfortunately, this show was set many years ago, and in recent times, and nothing much has changed in terms of the horror in which some people can experience from certain governments and certain regimes, and so from a perspective of global aspect, that's where I connected with it, and I thought it was very relevant today.
You're right. It is a universal problem in every country, and the need for asylum in difficult situations. And it's difficult now when whatever cultural element elected Trump has lost all sense of connection with others. I think they feel that way themselves. I think they must feel like refugees in their own country in some way. So yes, I think it has a wonderful future. I encourage you to keep developing it.
And what I think someone coming to see the show would find it relevant to them in their personal lives, potentially from similar instances to happen to them or their families. But again, what's happening in the world, I think everyone can relate to that, and that's really important. So whether it's in Edinburgh, New York, Korea, wherever it is, I think you'll find an audience that would relate to that. A lot of these festivals are fun, and there's circus-esque acts, comedy, these kind of things. It's good to see something that's a little more serious have a little bit more meaning